I was frightened when I first got into activism. I was worried that people would think I'm quote unquote one of those, or maybe job opportunities would reduce, or who knows, just a bunch of things. Shame can come in. When coming up with trying to find ways to empower people, it's really important to find out what concerns they may have, whether they're aware of it or not, and have a list of those concerns. So one of them, yeah, they could be frightened. Also, they may wonder, will it even do anything? Is it effective? Another one could be, if I join an animal rights organization, will I be welcomed in? Will I just be twiddling my thumbs? So you identify the list of concerns, and then you try to craft these scenes that address those concerns while still telling the story. So you will even have a scene where we'll show an animal rights group, but really show vulnerability there, and a welcoming vibe. So to address the concern that, yeah, whether or not people will feel comfortable joining.
Yeah, and I mean, the people you show I think sometimes people think that we're all crazy, and I think that you really helped. A lot of the people you did show were just thoughtful and sincere and nice and regular, and I think just that message itself can be very valuable.
Yeah, I think even the word crazy or weird, it's like, when I feel like in a society where people are on autopilot or they may be indifferent about certain issues, when you care so much and you're really trying to find ways and you're learning how the system works, and you're curious and you're passionate, I think it can represent itself as a little off, but it's, I don't want to use the word crazy, but like good crazy, it's great.
What I found interesting is the documentary isn't just about what the problem is, but it's about solving it, it's about activism. What are the lessons to be learned from Regan's story in being an effective activist?
So I like how she was really curious about people. And I found that, and I guess the both of you as podcast hosts, you're curious as well. But I find that's lacking in society, and I could be wrong, but that's the vibe I'm getting. And she was really curious about people. She made people really feel special. I think just having that approach can help with some of the concerns, like even entering an organization. If you have a certain curiosity, the spotlight may shift from you to genuinely just wanting to know people, and it can help you enter the group. Or when you're doing outreach and you're speaking to either an individual or a decision maker, or a politician, having that curiosity can help you connect more, and it can also help them reduce their defenses and receive the information.
Yeah, I wanted to also just go back to what you said about curiosity. I'm curious about like what you mean by that. That you think that the vibe is sort of like people lack curiosity in general.
Yeah, and that's there was a scene there that I really wanted to push and really show that part of her. But I feel like people do lack curiosity in a way where maybe they're just thinking about what to say while someone's talking, or there's this word, I forgot what it is, but the definition of the word is this overwhelming feeling that every individual has this whole world and life to them. And it's a specific word, and your mind just blows that, like, all these people around you, it has this whole huge story to them, that consists of multiple stories. And yeah, and just like really trying to keep that in mind. And I forget too, and I'll walk down the street and people will walk by me like it's nothing. But sometimes I remind myself, like, hey, like, look at people and feel them, and like there's a whole world to them, and they're just passing by you. And I think that helps with a lot of things. So
The thing I wanted to add about this particular topic, about how you brought it to life in the film, was a story which was far before Regan became an activist. It was that story that her friend told when they first met, when they were like 14, and they were both starting out as models in Winnipeg. It was Winnipeg, right? She was from,
yes.
yeah, and it was just so touching because having been a 14-year-old girl, not a model, but there could be a lot of competitiveness, and particularly in a modeling arena, you can imagine that. And it was just such a moving story about how kind at that age Regan was to this girl who felt very awkward and lost. And it just seemed like a theme that really repeated throughout her life, that that it was just, she had
Mm.
a curiosity, you know, enough to find out that this other girl was feeling kind of bereft, and that kindness. It was such an interesting little blip that I think appealed to me particularly because, you know, I've been a 14-year-old girl and it's a very difficult time of life. It was a lovely story, and I think it does bring to life your thought that, not that that was a move of activism, but that is such powerful activism, being able to connect with another person, seeing what issues going on for them. So that's all I was going to add. I liked that story a lot.
No, I totally hear you. That I felt like that moment was so important. And I love there's, without giving too much away, but the friend who was that 14-year-old girl who just got into modeling and was scared and hesitant and so forth, she used the term that Regan saw her feeling uncomfortable and Regan just wasn't going to have that. Like I love how
Mm.
she just used that. Like I'm not even thinking twice. There's no way I'm just going to stand here and have this person feel so vulnerable and not do anything about it. So that was great. That touched me definitely.
And you can see that same spirit coming when she found out what was happening to pigs. She just
Yeah,
wasn't going to have it.
exactly. Yeah.
Mm. This is a little bit of a non sequitur, but I keep thinking about it. Many years ago, like 20 years ago, maybe, I saw an off Broadway play that was about Rachel Corrie. And at the time, I hadn't known who she was. So, just for people who might not know, she was a nonviolence activist, and she was a member of the pro-Palestinian International Solidarity Movement, very active throughout that whole movement, that whole world. And she was in a city in the Gaza Strip that was under Israeli occupation when she was run over by an armored bulldozer that crushed and killed her. And there was a play about it. And just like I'm passionate about film, our listeners know I'm very passionate about theater and the arts as a way of change making. And 20 years later, and hundreds of plays that I've seen later, I still think about her and this story. And I think that the Regan story has the potential to reach people about this movement and about the fight. And it's hard to say this because it's like nobody should have to die for human or animal. Like, no one should have to die for others to take seriously this cause. But in the case of Regan, what do you think she would say about the reaction to what happened to her, and how to sort of best use her memory? That's a loaded question. I know you can't really exactly answer it, but I am curious what your instinct is here.
I think she would be pleased. I think a lot of documentaries, they may focus on people who have like maybe a huge platform or they're really public figures. And what I like is that Regan, I don't want to say she was just a normal person because like, what does that even mean? But she didn't have that. And she still made such an impact. And I think because she didn't have such a huge platform and so forth, that it made it even more powerful that all of us can do something. So if that message, and I do think it did reach people who have seen the movie and also who have seen all the news articles about her. Yeah, I think she'd be totally pleased that regular quote unquote people feel like they can do really special things.
Can you tell us about the title? Because I'm not sure people would know what it meant, but it's very moving.
Anita, who produced the film, she came up with the title, and it's called "I'm Trying." And Regan, while being interviewed, she mentioned that just try, just like you may not have all the answers, but doing something is definitely a lot better than doing nothing. And just having that as an anchor, like even right now, like coming on a podcast, I may be nervous, but let me just try to push myself and try to share some messages. And the two of you, I'm sure you try in so many other ways, and it makes a huge impact. So you don't have to be perfect, but just try no matter what, like and just go on that journey. I think it can do a lot, and it's moving. When people see people trying and they don't have it all together, I think that can be inspiring. So it's like you can't lose.